Everyone thinks they know the story of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. They think it is a story about love and escaping the press. But there is a new story coming out. It is a story that scares the most powerful people in the palace. It is a story about a hidden past that no one wants to talk about. The silence is breaking. The whispers are turning into shouts. And at the center of it all is a man with nothing left to lose and a woman who has everything to lose. This is not just a scandal. This is an earthquake, and the ground is starting to shake right now. Meghan is not as innocent as she pretends to be. She is down in the mud with me, whether she wants to be there or not. You need to understand one thing very clearly before we begin. The story you are going to hear today is not a nice story. It is not gentle, it is rough, and it is shocking. Prince Andrew is finally starting to speak up, and reports say that Meghan is terrified. She is panicking. To understand why she is so scared, we have to look at what happened to Prince Andrew. His fall from power was huge. It wasn't a small mistake that people forgot about in a week. It was a giant disaster. It didn't happen in private where no one could see. It happened in front of the whole world. Everyone saw it. Prince Andrew was destroyed because he was friends with a man named Jeffrey Epstein. There were very serious claims made by a woman named Virginia Roberts. These claims ruined Andrew's life almost overnight. One day, he was a respected prince. The next day, his reputation was crushed. The Queen stripped him of his royal titles. The palace closed its doors to him. His future as a working royal was completely erased. It happened right in plain sight. The newspapers wrote about it every single day. The news channels talked about it nonstop. The palace took action to punish him. He lost his job, his honor, and his good name. But here is the part that is very strange. Here is the mystery that does not make sense. Prince Andrew was destroyed because he was connected to the Epstein world. So why has everyone been completely silent about Meghan Markle's connection to that exact same world? It is very confusing. We are looking at the same group of people. We are looking at the same time in history. We are looking at the same social circle. Yet we have two completely different endings. One person, the prince, was punished severely. The other person, Meghan, was protected completely. There were no angry headlines about her past. There was no pressure for her to answer hard questions. There was no investigation into who she knew. There was absolutely nothing. It feels like someone built a giant wall of silence around Meghan's past. It is like they took certain topics, put them in a box, and locked the box with a heavy key on purpose. But that silence is exactly what makes this story so explosive. You have to remember that silence does not mean someone is innocent. Just because people aren't talking doesn't mean nothing happened. Usually, silence means that someone powerful does not want the truth to be told. And this silence leads us to the next shocking layer of the story. This new information changes how we look at Meghan's life entirely. Before she ever met Prince Harry, and long before the big royal wedding, sources say something interesting. They claim Meghan had a personal relationship with Prince Andrew that was not a secret to the people in their circle. We are not talking about them meeting once for 5 minutes. We are not talking about a polite hello at a crowded party. We are talking about a close connection. People who know the situation say that Andrew told his friends the truth. He allegedly said that he knew Meghan a long time before she became a duchess. He said their relationship was much more personal than the public was ever told. This is the part of the story that no one talks about. Why does it matter? It matters because it changes the whole fairy tale. If Meghan and Andrew had a real, direct friendship in the past, then she wasn't a stranger entering the royal world. She wasn't an outsider who knew nothing about the monarchy. She was already connected to the family. That changes everything we thought we knew. It forces us to ask questions that the palace has never answered. How did they meet in the first place? How close were they really? Why did nobody ever admit they knew each other? The most important question is this: why was this information hidden when Prince Andrew's scandal was destroying him? If Andrew fell because of the people he hung out with, and Meghan was allegedly part of that same group, why did only one of them get in trouble? Was someone protecting her? Was the palace afraid of a bigger secret coming out? Or was Meghan's past considered too dangerous to show to the world? We don't know the exact reason yet. But we know that this chapter of her life was sealed shut until now. The next clue takes us to a place we didn't expect. We are going out onto the water. We are entering a world connected to Epstein. When you follow a mystery like this, you have to look for patterns. Places matter. People matter. In this case, one name is like a key that unlocks a door. That name is Karina Shuliak. She was the last girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein. She said something very public and very important. She said that the only times she ever flew on private planes or went on big yachts were when she was with Epstein. Those trips on the water were not normal family vacations. They were part of his private world. They were part of his inner circle. It was a controlled environment. Now, this is where Meghan comes into the picture. In the year 2014, photographs came out. These photos showed Meghan on a yacht. These pictures put her in the same fancy, exclusive lifestyle that Karina described. It was a space that was closely tied to the world of Epstein. This wasn't a cruise you buy a ticket for. It wasn't a charity event to help people. It was a private yacht. When you connect that photo to the stories about Meghan's past relationship with Andrew, the picture gets scary. It is the same time period. It is the same group of social friends. It is the same environment of power and money. This does not look like an accident. It does not look like a coincidence. It looks like she was close to it, and being close matters. It matters especially when a huge scandal explodes later. One person falls down and loses everything, while the other person walks away without a scratch. If Andrew was destroyed just for being in that world, then Meghan being near it raises big questions. What did she know? Why did no one ever ask her about it? The yacht is more than just a picture. It is a doorway. It is a doorway into a part of Meghan's life that was never explained. That silence is where the real story begins. The closer you look at the facts, the clearer it becomes. Meghan wasn't just standing near the storm. She was standing inside the storm. As Prince Andrew's scandal got bigger and bigger, one name was at the center of it all. That name was Virginia Roberts. She was not a reporter. She was not just watching from the outside. She was the woman who spoke up. Her claims helped bring Prince Andrew's world crashing down. There are reports that claim Virginia didn't just want the powerful men to answer questions. She allegedly wanted Meghan Markle called as a witness in her legal case. Why would she want that? Not because Meghan was a famous TV star, not because she married Prince Harry, but because, as the claims suggest, Meghan was considered a close associate of Prince Andrew in the past. That phrase, close associate, is very heavy. It means someone believed Meghan was not a stranger to Andrew's private life. It means she might have been there, she might have seen things, she might have heard things. The reason behind this alleged request was simple. If Meghan had a personal friendship with Andrew before she met Harry, she might know the truth. She might have been around the places that other people only whispered about. And here is the most disturbing part. If Meghan truly had nothing to do with that world, why would her name even come up? Lawyers do not pick witnesses randomly. They pick witnesses because those people might know something important. But when the legal trouble started, Meghan was never called. Her name just disappeared from the case. Her connection was never talked about on the news again. It was as if someone took an eraser and wiped that part of her life off the page. Instead of answers, the world got silence. But silence does not erase history. Silence only buries it underground. The deeper you dig, the more you see that Meghan wasn't just dropped into royal life by luck. She was already touching the edges of that powerful world before she ever met Prince Harry. This brings us to a major turning point. How did she get into those fancy circles in the first place? When Meghan moved to Toronto to act in the show Suits, she wasn't famous all over the world yet. She wasn't royal. She was a working actress. She had big dreams, but she didn't have the keys to the most powerful rooms in the world. But that changed very fast. According to sources, something big happened when she got there. A man named Marcus Anderson came into her life. He was a very important person at Soho House. Soho House is a private club. It is an exclusive network for famous and rich people. It is known for secret parties and elite connections. Marcus Anderson didn't just meet Meghan. People say he recruited her. He helped her. He introduced her to the highest levels of society in Toronto. He opened doors that most normal people never even get to see. Through him, she reportedly met very important people. She met Jessica Mulroney. She started hanging out in circles linked to money and power in New York. This wasn't just random socializing. This was a plan. It was positioning. One introduction led to another. One group of friends led to the next group. By the time her name ever reached Prince Harry, Meghan had already stepped into elite environments. These environments traced a path toward royalty and wealth, and according to the earlier claims, they traced a path to Prince Andrew's world. Her rise to the top wasn't magic. It was built step by step, and the closer she got to power, the more her path crossed with names that would later become trouble. But here is where the story takes a darker turn. Sources say that Prince Harry wasn't the first royal person Meghan focused on. Someone else was, someone older, someone who was already deep inside the palace, someone tied to the Epstein scandal. That person was Prince Andrew. Before Harry ever came into the picture, sources claim Meghan had her eyes set on Andrew. She didn't want him as a teacher or a friend. Allegedly, she saw him as a romantic target and a strategic target. This changes the story completely. It suggests Meghan wasn't just floating through life. It suggests she was aiming upward. She was calculating. She was choosing. She was positioning herself to be close to titles, status, and royal access. But there was someone standing between Meghan and Andrew. That person was Sarah Ferguson, also known as Fergie. Fergie wasn't just Andrew's ex-wife. She was his protector. She was his gatekeeper. She guarded his royal space. According to the claims, Fergie blocked Meghan. She stopped Meghan from getting close enough to Andrew to start a relationship. That barrier forced Meghan to change her plan. If she couldn't reach Andrew, she needed another way into the royal family. That is when fate or strategy shifted. Meghan didn't expect to end up with Harry at first. She didn't expect to catch a young, popular prince. But when the chance appeared, she took it. Once she had Harry's attention, she held on tight. What started as an alleged plan to get to Andrew suddenly turned into the biggest royal event of the century. Meghan didn't just enter the royal family. She married right into the heart of it. That move changed everything. It changed things for her. It changed things for the monarchy. It changed things for Harry. And it changed the fate of the secrets hiding in the shadows. The next part of this story is about the fallout. It is about realizing the truth, covering it up, and the threat that could destroy it all. When Harry married Meghan, he thought he found freedom. He thought he found love. He thought he found a partner who was not part of the royal machine. He believed he was escaping the cold palace life. He thought he was starting a new life based on honesty. But sources say that belief did not last. As time went on, whispers started to reach Harry. Quiet comments, old stories, hidden connections. People started mentioning Meghan's past link to Prince Andrew. They said she knew him long before Harry met her. At first, Harry refused to listen. He didn't want to believe it. He defended his wife. He protected her. He stopped talking to his family because they tried to warn him. But eventually, something changed. According to claims, Harry didn't just hear the rumors. He finally realized they might be true. He had to face what he didn't want to see. He realized his family's warnings were not just about being mean or controlling. They were telling him the truth, and that truth allegedly hit him very hard. Sources say Harry became disgusted. He felt distant and overwhelmed. He could barely look at Meghan without remembering the past she never told him about. He felt trapped in California. He was far away from his family. He was far from home. He was stuck in a marriage that was now full of questions. For Harry, this wasn't just a scandal. It was a betrayal. If Meghan had a personal connection to Andrew, and if she had once wanted Andrew instead of him, then Harry wasn't chosen for love. He was chosen because he was useful. That realization shattered him. But while Harry was falling apart in private, the palace was making big decisions in public. These decisions showed that something huge was happening behind the scenes. You would expect the newspapers to go crazy over Meghan's alleged past with Andrew. You would expect big headlines. You would expect reporters to ask questions nonstop, especially after the Epstein scandal destroyed Andrew's reputation. But none of that happened. Instead, the palace and the media stayed silent, completely silent. According to the claims, that silence was planned. It was a strategy. The palace had three big fears. First, they were worried about Harry's mental health. If the truth came out in public, it could break him completely. The royal family didn't want a prince collapsing in front of the world. Second, they feared a new explosion of the Epstein scandal. If Meghan was tied to that dark world, even a little bit, the monarchy could face a scandal much bigger than the first one. Third, they feared the whole system could collapse. If the public found out Meghan was connected to Andrew, the palace would look foolish. They would look reckless for letting her into the family without checking her past. So instead of telling the truth, they buried it. No statements were made. No questions were answered. Meghan was protected, not because she was innocent, but because exposing her could burn the entire monarchy down. While the palace built this wall of silence, one person on the inside refused to stay quiet forever. He is a man with nothing left to lose. That man is Prince Andrew. Imagine being the only one to fall. Imagine watching your reputation get destroyed. Imagine losing your titles and your future. Now imagine seeing someone else who was part of your same world walking away safe and happy. That is Prince Andrew's reality. According to the claims, Andrew is furious. He is bitter. He is tired of being the only one punished while Meghan stays protected. He allegedly feels like he took the fall for a world she was also part of. Now sources say he is ready to talk. He is ready to leak everything. He isn't doing it for justice. He is doing it because he is angry, and he isn't alone. Sources claim that Sarah Ferguson is on his side. Together, they allegedly know the truth about Meghan's past. They know about her connection to Andrew. They know the hidden chapters that the palace has kept quiet. For the first time, the danger isn't coming from the newspapers. It is coming from inside the family. Andrew has been silenced for years. He has no future left to protect. He is a man who could blow up the truth with just one sentence. The moment Andrew speaks, the world will turn upside down. Once he talks, silence can no longer protect Meghan. And that leads us to the final, most explosive point. There is one truth that could end everything. Every story has a breaking point. Every secret has a moment when it can no longer be hidden. That moment is coming. According to sources, there is one specific truth, one buried reality. It is a secret that could destroy Meghan's royal story forever. This truth is held not only by Andrew, but allegedly by Fergie and even Princess Eugenie. It is a truth tied to Meghan's past with Andrew. It is tied to the Epstein circle. It is tied to the reason the palace stayed silent. If that truth comes out, Meghan doesn't just lose her fancy status. She loses everything. She loses her public image. She loses her identity as a royal. She loses her future influence. The monarchy itself could be shaken to its very core. Meghan didn't just marry into the royal family, she sneaked inside it. If Andrew speaks, if he breaks his silence, the world will never look at Meghan the same way again. The story of the modern royal fairy tale will crack open. It will reveal a history that is darker and more dangerous than anyone imagined. That is why Meghan is panicking. That is why the palace is frozen in fear. That is why Harry is unraveling. That is why Catherine has stepped up to be a strong leader. And that is why King Charles has allegedly confirmed that they must be removed. The monarchy is bracing for a crash. The only question left is this: what happens when the man who lost everything decides he has nothing left to protect? When that moment comes, the world won't just hear a confession. It will watch history being rewritten in real time. And this story is only the beginning.